Hello, and welcome to the AI Marketing Transformation Podcast, hosted by Miguel Machado, CEO and co-founder of Og.ai and KEENFOLKS, an AI marketing transformation agency. In each episode, we dive into the key challenges and opportunities in marketing, content, and customer experience, exploring how AI integration can drive impactful business results. Hear from top marketing leaders as they share how global brands leverage AI and data to elevate their marketing strategies and customer connections. If you're eager to innovate and stay ahead of industry trends, subscribe and join the AI Marketing Transformation community.
Welcome to the 15th episode of the AI Marketing Transformation Podcast. Today we are joined by Rob Wiltsey, a video marketing strategist, content producer, and serial entrepreneur who has been at the forefront of the content innovation for over a decade now. As the founder and CEO of VideoFresh, Rob has produced thousands of successful video projects for major brands including Nike, Kaiser Permanente, Post Cereal, and among others. With its unique perspective spanning both traditional video marketing and cutting-edge AI applications, Rob brings invaluable insights on how CMOs can navigate the rapidly evolving content landscape. Welcome to the show, Rob.
Hey, thanks, Miguel. Excited to be here.
Thank you so much. So the pleasure is all ours. So before we dive into the AI revolution in content creation, I would love to hear a bit about your journey, how you built VideoFresh into a successful content production company working with major brands, and now you are also exploring AI innovation. So how has this combined experience shaped your perspective on where content marketing is heading?
Yeah, thanks for having me on here, and I can tell a little bit about my story. So I actually have a background in industrial engineering, and the reason that plays a little bit of a role is because I was fascinated by systems and processes, but I've always been doing video content for brands. For over 15 years now. Back when I was delivering videos to brands on like DVDs, right? This was a long time ago. So there was no YouTube, there was no social media back then. So today, what really the vision for VideoFresh was becoming really a very systems driven video production company. And what that means is that high reliability, high quality, being able to get brands all of the content they need across every channel in a way that really saves them time, is low friction, is efficient, and creative all at the same time. And so that was something that we felt like was a little bit of a sweet spot for us in the industry, and just having a better process, I think, than other video production companies has, and giving the customer, the client that we're working with, giving them a really enjoyable, smooth experience, and then they get a great piece of content that they love. Like, all of that has been our secret sauce as a company. And it sounds simple, but it definitely helped us get to where we are. So we started in 2016, and like you said, we've done thousands of videos for companies in their marketing. I think we've realized that we've helped generate, I think, over 100 million in sales for all kinds of companies, e-commerce companies, nonprofits we work with that do fundraising. We've done a lot of marketing for nonprofits, and all kinds of things. And so it's been an awesome journey. And like you said, AI is now changing everything for a lot of people in the marketplace, and certainly for video. And so I'm excited to talk about how we see that change happening today and like where we think it's going. So
yeah, so it's interesting because when people talk about content production and the way it's evolving, I think it's incredible. It's incredible, and sometimes when you talk with experts, they always mention that they think that there is not an overhype, there is an underhype. Are you aligned with this perspective? Do you think actually that the transformation is so big and so overwhelming that people are not seeing the real picture?
So I think that it's both overhyped and underhyped. I think it's overhyped today in this second, and it's like underhyped for like a few years from now, if that makes sense. I think we're on an exponential growth curve. And so I think we're in a really fascinating moment where I think AI today, right, the LLMs that we have today, the generative video tools that we have today, they're showing so much promise. I think people are trying to squeeze a little too much juice out of it today, and I think people really want to be using it. I think people also don't really know how to use it. It reminds me of the early days of the internet, where there's a lot of early adopters, and there's a lot of people that lag behind. Um, Overall, I think it's underhyped. I think if I had to choose, if you go out on the street right now, to businesses and marketing teams, if you just go talk to people, I think that they mentally understand how big of a deal this is, but they are actually probably underutilizing it to its full potential. So it's in a really squirrely place today. But I think that what we always try to do is with the content is help people use it in really practical ways and not use it just to use it. I think a lot of people are trying to justify AI here and there. I think they want to we all want to feel like we are not behind, right? So there, we know there's a technological change happening. So we're all kind of grasping at use cases to use this content. And I think a lot of times a lot of times this technology is being used, maybe not in the best way right now, because we're all just desperate to use it and to implement it so that we feel like we are ahead of the curve. So it's in a really interesting place. And I think it's not matured yet, right? It's not in a matured state. It's in a very early state, both just with the content side and also just overall. I'm actually very I have no, I'm also doing a lot of AI consulting as well with businesses outside of video, so that's something that I'm doing as well. And I've learned that everyone is trying to figure out, what is this technology for, how can we best use it, and so we're trying to be that voice that is really helping bring clarity to that question. Is just because this technology is here, does not mean it's kind of like a solution chasing a problem sometimes, right? So people are trying to find ways to make AI a solution to something, instead of starting and saying, what what are our needs, and where is the AI technology ready to meet those needs?
Yeah, it's definitely. I really like what you're saying. It's definitely a matter of understanding how we pass from this experimental stage that we are seeing it as well at KEENFOLKS and in OG, like that experimental stage where the companies are still experimenting with things, and they are seeing obviously evolution, especially in the video production. Gemini coming with multimodal, where you can actually use voice and video and all of that together and say, wow, if you can do this, I can transform everything. Now you cannot
Yep.
transform everything. You need to have a strategy, and actually to pass from experimental to a structural process where you actually bring value and you keep bringing the millions that you were saying for the clients, and in this case for the business, how you do that transition. So my question there for you, Rob, is the following. So taking into consideration this context where CMOs are trying to see where they start, okay, where they should start looking in terms of content production to increase value and revenue with this new context.
Great question. So I think that when it comes to video marketing, when it comes I want to take a step back and just talk about video for a second. So videos, and what I've made my whole career about is making video content. You have to take a step back and think about what makes video powerful. And what makes video powerful is you can capture an emotion. You can make people feel something. You can communicate features and benefits. You can tell a story. You're combining music with visuals, with movement, with text and graphics. It's like the perfect combination of all of the things that move us as human beings. And if you can use video to influence a person that's watching it, you can drive revenue. It's that simple. That's what a video is. We've lost that as a lot of marketing has lost that a little bit, where it's just about content, content, content. Make more higher quality content, throw a bunch of stuff at the wall, see what works, split A/B test, blah blah blah. And you can take a very cold, calculated, scientific approach to video. I think you kind of lose sight of what makes content really effective. And so my message to brands is, just because generative AI now makes it easier and faster than ever to get a video. It does not make it easier or faster to get a very effective video. That's always been hard, and that's going to always be hard to do. It's always hard to craft a video that your audience, your specific customer, is going to see and be really influenced by and really compelled by. So that's the big sobering message I think I have is what's going to happen right now in the market is all your competitors are going to, but yeah, you've heard the term like AI slop? Have you heard that term? So it's just meaning the easiest, fastest, just text to video. I'm going to type in a prompt and just get a video, and I'm going to put it up, and um, that is going to continue to flood the market, and I see that as an opportunity for brands. I see that as an opportunity to rise above the AI slop and actually be more intentional, be more different. Because this is the other thing is AI definitely has a vibe. It has a feeling. It has a there's a tone that AI content has, and we all kind of know it. Like whether it's a video or whether it's like sometimes you get an email and you're like, did this person like use ChatGPT to write me this email? There's a flavor that AI has. What that means is all people are going to get lazy with their content, and it's already happened, right? AI is going to make your competitors lazy with their content, probably. So can you be the brand that resists that urge and actually put in that human intuition, that human insight? And we could get philosophical about, is there something humans have that AI could never have in terms of in terms of inspiration and creativity? I don't know. I just know that you know your customers better than ChatGPT knows your customers right now, and you know what resonates. And also you can if everything's moving in this direction with this flavor, going the other way. I mean, that's something I've always believed is look at your space, look at your industry. What is all the content that your competitors are making, and go somewhere else with it. If everyone if you're in a category where everyone's going humor, then do something really sincere. If you're going in a direction where everyone's being really sincere, go humor. Like just be different, just stand out with your message. And I think that we are outsourcing a lot of our inspiration to this thing, to this AI thing. And I think what is going to happen is that's going to make my hot take on this is that we're going to get more there's going to be an appetite for stuff with a human touch, like more than ever. You know what I'm saying? Because everything's AI now. So I think it's going to be more and more refreshing to have something that has that human touch, because we can feel it. Humans can feel when there's that human touch, and that gap is probably going to close and close. Maybe over the next 5-10 years, whatever. Who knows? But I know in 2025, 2026, it's not going to be there. So that's how I think. I think that's my best like overall advice for brands with their content is just resist the urge to get lazy with your creativity, resist the urge to outsource your intuition to this thing creatively and with your marketing strategy. Use it like an assistant. Don't use it like an authority. I think is probably the overall advice I would have.
Oh, that's quite interesting. Where when everybody's zigging, now you need to zag. No, so
Yeah.
and I think that's quite interesting. Another point that I would like to share with you there, and I would like to have your take there, is that I think that AI is a tool, and in this case, multi tools. No? And as you cannot use a knife as a fork, okay, actually AI has its own purpose. So you can do actually things in AI that you couldn't do it before. So you can actually visualize a dream in a very easy way and get the camera doing some angles that even in reality you couldn't do it, or see the life through a mosquito eyes very clearly and with a production very low cost. And then obviously you can work on features. And what we've seen, and I'm sharing our experience to have your take there. What we've seen is that if you want to do a production in AI, you cannot have a traditional production perspective, because the AI changed the strategic view, okay, on the production, and it impacts the storyline and it impacts the script. So if you come with a traditional approach and you just go AI, forget about it. We try it and you cannot get it. But if you take from the AI the elements and the features and the richness in terms of technology, and you connect with human creativity, that's where you can have actually an explosion. So my question to you is the following. Taking into consideration that you have all these capabilities and all these possibilities, what would be your advice, okay, for a brand or a CMO saying, okay, I have all of this, so how I change my process and how I change my content production pipeline?
Hmm. That's a great question. And I'm not even sure if I mentioned this yet, because I know I'm talking about the nuances here of AI. We do generative AI, and we have been delivering generative AI to clients for like 18 months now. Like we've been way ahead on like we're doing like this week we're delivering a bunch of different projects that are generative AI. So we do real production, we do generative AI. We are very early adopters to it. So I thought I didn't want that to get lost on viewers either. Like we're very pro generative AI. We're very pro using it where it is really valuable, and we're not interested in kind of chasing the hype aspect
Yes.
of it where a lot of other brands are. And you could probably benefit from chasing the hype too, but we don't. That's not really our culture. We're using it very thoughtfully where it's valuable. And I think to your point, um you know, how it changes the workflow. Yeah, that's actually a really interesting question, because if you've been doing content production for decades, you you think inside a certain box of like what's possible and what is practical to do, and generative AI completely opens that box up. And it's really exciting actually, because you're like, oh wow, there's like kind of no limit to the kind of shot I could try to create. um I think that in terms of how it changes the workflow, obviously generative AI is a completely different workflow, and it has to really, the if you want to get good at generative AI, what you need to do is get really good. You have to get really, really familiar with the different models that are available and where they excel. Because this is something I've learned is you have, and you mentioned, there's different popular models. VO3 really got a lot of attention because that's the one that did like the text to or it does audio really well. It does really good, and of course Google, did VO3, and Google has YouTube, so they were sitting on like the most training data, which is why it's so good. And so we use VO3 as one tool, but um, VO3 is not as powerful at some things as like Kling AI, or even Runway is good at. So there's a landscape of different tools and different models that are actually good. So in one AI video, for one shot, we know we're going to use VO3. For another shot, we know we're going to use Kling. For another shot, we know we're going to use like Runway. So the whole workflow involves kind of at first kind of getting all of your ingredients created, so you sort of are getting all, because a lot of these you have image to video, you have text to video, you have ingredients, you have video to video, now you have voice to voice, you have all these different modalities that have their own advantages to getting certain kinds of shots made. And so really getting good at generative AI is like getting really, really intimately familiar with each of these different models and just putting in the hours, playing around, testing. Just burn a bunch of credits. Just like, don't hold back. Just drop $1,000 on credits across these different things and just go crazy and try to challenge yourself and say, can I make, like, think either. So here's the other thing I was going to mention, and I know I'm going off a little bit of the question, but like, it's very, very easy with these models to get it to do something cool. It's very challenging to get it to do something very specific. So if you start by imagining something specific, like I see this shot in my head where this actress is doing something with this product in this environment, right? If you start with that and then try to get that exact vision to become a reality, that's where the expertise comes in. It's very easy if you're just very like open to, I don't care what this thing gets out, I just want some person kind of doing something. It's going to do a good job. But I know our projects and our clients are incredibly detail oriented. Like they care about little details of everything. So the level of control that you have to have over these tools to get the level of control that we're used to having with real production, to me, that's where a tool is really ready for the battlefield, so to speak, is that we know how to control it to the degree that is required to get the job done. When you're looking at, so back to the question of like, what's the workflow? I think that part of the question is like, when should a project be generative AI and when should it not be? I think one of the biggest ways to answer that question is just the level of control you need. Like if we're doing one of our clients is like one of the biggest like wheelchair companies, wheelchairs, walkers, different mobility products. Their products are very specific. They're very technical. The what we need to show, the way we need to demonstrate it. Generative AI is just not ready to deliver that level of control that brand needs to show their products. So it doesn't even, and even if it was theoretically possible today, there's no way it would be cost effective, right? So that's the other thing, is like at some point it's actually cheaper to just pull out a camera and some lights and film the product. If it would be such a heavy lift to control these shots so specifically with generative AI. So I think that live production can still be cheaper sometimes. And I think that's going to continue to be the case. But I think that if what you want is something that's just kind of lifestyle or just eye candy or just something that can just be kind of creative out of the box for like a social media ad or something. Also, something else important is these models cannot do high resolution. Like VO3 is only 720p. So and it's kind of low fidelity 720p, right? So that's great for a little ad that's on a feed like on Facebook or things like that, but definitely not something you want to run on TV. I know that there are people running these ads on TV, but I think they're doing so in a bit of a novelty, right? It's like, this was made with generative AI, um but the resolution is just not actually up to the standard of actual connected TV or different types of streaming TV. So that's a really roundabout way of saying like, yeah, generative AI has a completely different workflow. It involves getting your ingredients ready, which is your images and your references and things like that in your environments, and then it's about using the right tools to get the right shots. That whether it's if it's lip syncing, HeyGen is an amazing software or an amazing platform for lip syncing. If you're doing more product centric stuff, I think Kling continues to be for me the platform that gives me the most reliable outputs. VO3 is amazing for. I think VO3 is great for like. First of all, I think it looks the most realistic, even though it looks maybe not the most eye candy. It actually, because it's trained on so many actual videos, I think VO3 looks like the most realistic, where you could get an output from VO3 and a lot of people won't actually think that it's AI. So, but it's also sometimes lower resolution and sometimes not great at like perfectly replicating ingredients that you need. So whereas sometimes Kling is a lot better at that. And then Runway has a lot of great tools. So Runway has a lot of great tools for um doing like changing ingredients in a video. So like you could also like take out, like if I wanted to take this picture out behind me, I could just like take it out. And even with a moving camera and all that stuff. So like Runway's got a great collection of tools. I know they also have other stuff, but like their tools are what I think um are really exciting. So anyway, I know I'm rambling now, so I'll stop. But it's like these are two completely different workflows, and always be asking the question. We're in a state right now where filming something with a camera is probably still a better choice unless you can prove otherwise with generative AI. But I think that's going to change over the next 18 months. I think it's just going to get better
It's
and
going to
better.
evolve.
So
So what I'm hearing, Rob, I think that the advice for the CMO is somehow start with the idea, okay, in mind, and the concept that you are looking for, and then try to see if this fits into a certain type of content production, more realistic, traditional, or that can go more into the generative AI approach. If you go through the generative AI approach, obviously you need to know the tools and you need to understand the language models and you need to understand what you can take the most out of each one of the tools and their limitations. But also you can go for an hybrid approach where actually you go for a traditional content production, but you are able actually to select parts of it in order to improve the process. And I think this is a very, very interesting point that you are bringing. So all of that together and understanding how you can approach it, let me ask you this. If you have it all controlled, okay, and if you are a brand where the equity of the brand, the concept and their values is so important, so how you guarantee that using somehow an AI production, you don't go south and you don't lose part of that mystic in terms of creativity, in terms of the brand angle?
Yeah, that's a great question. And again, it kind of speaks to the idea that brands are going to get lazy. Brands, and this is the other thing I'm seeing is a lot of what's happening right now with generative AI video is people are starting with the limitations of it. They're saying what can this thing do really well, and I'm going to reverse engineer some creative that plays into what generative AI does really well. And that's great for like a tech demo of this stuff, but it's not a great way to build a brand. It's like to limit yourself like that. I think that like you said, brands should start with they should never compromise their brand voice. They should never compromise what their message is and how they want customers to feel. And I think that to your point, and you brought up something really good, is like I think you can combine these really well. So I think that like doing a traditional production, you can get all the benefits out of a traditional production, all the control, and then you can get all the benefits out of generative AI for certain shots and certain effects and certain things. And I think that hybrid approach is exactly what I'm recommending for a lot of our projects where um I think a hybrid approach is probably going to make a lot of sense. I actually think that like I'll tell you what I do not think is the future of generative AI in a professional context is text to video. I don't think text to video that's the fun thing that anyone can do and just like see what it cranks out and it's super fun, but it's not going to ever deliver the level of control that a serious brand is going to need. So I think what I see is really promising is like motion capture types of generative AI workflows, and I'm sure you've seen these. There's not a lot of great like production ready tools, except there's a few that are like kind of experimental open source. I think that eventually what our workflow is going to look like is like we're in a studio, we're capturing base movements, we're capturing we're capturing products, we're capturing performances, we're taking that motion capture information to craft the shots that we want. Like I see that workflow being now you have control, right? Now you have control over the movements, the control of the products, the control of everything. So it's kind of like um but that workflow is only kind of experimental right now. Like no one's really using that yet in a serious way. That's what I see as being the future because now you can do exactly what you want. You can do it in a sound studio or you can do it in a sound stage. You can um and you don't have to. I think this world of text to video is going to kind of come and go. It's never really going to be something that is going to be the right modality for
Yeah.
most brands moving forward.
I think that it's very right what you're saying. I think that the control on the production, it's a key point, and I think that there is a very strong hype. That is hype. Now that for
Yeah,
a certain type of videos and a certain expectations, it creates a wow effect, and it's actually able to deliver. But when you think about brands and you think about brand territories, equity, control on the message, guaranteeing that you get the right level of emotions and connection with the consumer and the values there, that is the part that is very difficult to execute. You cannot really prompt directly and have a video high level. In the
Yeah.
future, you never know. But right now, I think that what you have, I think it will not be able to deliver. So Rob,
Yeah.
for these CMOs that are actually looking for some additional resources on understanding how video is changing, what would be that resources that you would recommend? Like podcasts, books, events, things that you say, okay, this is should
Yeah.
go.
The best thing I found is going on LinkedIn and following as many like generative AI artists as you can. There's a lot because this is like the Wild West right now. It's just a bunch of people experimenting, and there is no true authority in this world yet. It's just a completely new space. So I get most of my resources from I follow probably 100 different generative AI um people experimenting with generative AI video on LinkedIn. And so my algorithm knows like that's what I'm into. So just constantly I'm learning about new tools, I'm learning about new capabilities. And that's me as kind of an actual kind of technician of it or whatever. Like I'm actually in there, making the content. So that's what I need. But I think that in terms of a general resource for CMOs, like I said, I think this is it reminds me of like if you're like a writer, if you're someone who writes, this is like when you went from typewriters to word processors. It's like, okay, so now it's
Mhm.
faster and easier and better to do the writing, but that doesn't make you a good writer. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Like that's where I think it's
100%.
just a technological shift, but it's not actually changing as much. It's not really changing anything about the fundamentals of what makes video good. And so that's where I think that we get, I think marketers are lost in the weeds and chasing a shining object right now. And that happens all the time, but I think that the dust is going to settle, and I think people are going to understand that the human touch, and even if you could have a tool down the road where you type in let's say you could type in a prompt and it was very simple to do. And AI could make an entire commercial that was extremely nuanced and extremely emotionally, uh, like you could really feel the emotions, you could feel the characters. By definition, though, if everyone could use that tool and if everyone could type in an easy, quick prompt and it was done for you, though that would all have my hot take is that would all have a similar flavor to it. It just still would. There would be in some way it would all be the lowest common denominator of content, even if it
Mhm.
was good. Still leave. There's always going to be room, no matter what
Yeah.
this technology does. This is my hot take, right? No matter
Mhm.
what the technology does, there's always going to be room for that higher level, and that
Yeah,
and that
that's
that you know.
That's so
So
much
so
true. And I mean, here, for example, at KEENFOLKS, we have creative technologists, people that understand technology and understand creativity and understand the
yep,
blend of it. Because I think in that border is where actually we have the most opportunities, is
yep,
understanding how you can blend the best of the two worlds. So I think that you are in the same context and we are very aligned on that. So, Rob, thank you very much. I would like to do obviously a
yeah,
wrap up of this
yeah,
conversation. I think that first, effective content must make you feel something. I think this is a really important insight. AI doesn't make it easier to create compelling video that drives sales. So the opportunity is to rise above AI, stop and get the intentional connection on the brand level. No, what is the message? What is the emotion that we want to make the audience feeling, and how are we going to create that connection, and then make the best of the tool that we can. Second, use AI as an assistant, not as an authority. So human control and creative judgment remain essential for brand authenticity, tone of voice, and control of message. And finally, getting specific results is the hardest part. You need to be precise on the tool control. So start by deciding by generative AI if generative AI actually makes sense in a fundamental 100% level or in an hybrid production. And also, obviously, and this is also an important part, uh, bear in mind the cost production and guarantee that you get leveled up with this new technology. So, Rob, thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us today. This has been incredibly insightful.
Oh, thank you so much. This was really fun, and hope we can do it again soon. So.
Super, fantastic, Rob. We love that. For our AI Marketing Transformation podcast listeners, don't forget to subscribe and leave your comments on this episode. Until next time, stay curious and keep innovating.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the AI Marketing Transformation Podcast. If you are a marketing leader who wants to tap into the most recent insights and innovative strategies in marketing and AI, be sure to subscribe. We appreciate your time and look forward to having you with us on the next episode.